You're listening to Hope and Uncertainty, Real Neighbors, Real Stories, Real Change. A podcast by Common Heart, sharing hope where it's needed most.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Hope and Uncertainty, where we explore real stories of neighbors helping neighbors through Common Heart. I'm Elizabeth Carpenton.
And I'm Keith Adams, and this week the episode is called It Takes a Village, and it's all about something crucial to Common Heart's mission, partnerships.
Yes, whether it's faith communities or local businesses, civic groups, organizations and schools, we simply could not feed families or empower our neighbors without our amazing community lifting us up.
Well, we're excited today to have some guests with us. We're being joined today by Tracy Scott from St. Margaret's Episcopal Church in Waxhaw, and Tracy's been a powerful advocate for our neighbors. St. Margaret's is one of our patrons of the heart, supporting us monthly, and their parishioners volunteer regularly at our office and in our events. They've hosted Common Heart workshops, organized food drives through their school, Sunday school, and their VBS programs. And I'll tell you, and they support our Great Turkey Countdown. Matter of fact, what is it, the third or fourth year being top fundraiser for St. Margaret's?
Yeah, I think you're something like that.
And importantly, and probably one of the key things is that you guys are the host and sponsoring organization for our Wednesday night pantry, and provide all of so many things, not only the facility but amazing volunteers. And so I just want to say welcome, Tracy. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me. So I'll just share quickly how I got connected with Common Heart. I think it was a total God thing. I think in 2017, I was just a volunteer, kind of leading that outreach efforts at St. Margaret's. And so I got the mail, anything related to outreach, and I got your annual report mailer. I think you said it was the first time you'd ever done it, and I guess just mailed it out to a lot of churches in the area. So I just picked this up, never heard of Common Heart, started reading it, and realized that you do some amazing work. You do all the food service, but then you obviously were trying to take it a step further, and you were trying to help people rise above poverty, and that really appealed to me. So I started talking to you. I think I reached out to you, and we had a conversation or two, and then I kind of slowly got involved myself. Came over here, saw the operation, kind of volunteered here and there. And then my husband and I started delivering to a Cupboard Ally situation, and we're still doing it, and love our people out in Wingate that we get to check on every month. And then I slowly kind of pulled in, some St. Margaret's folks and said, hey, you should come with me. Come check this out. Great Turkey Countdown is very engaging and fun, and just a great way for people to get exposed to Common Heart. And then, it's kind of grown over the years, right? Like we've done a lot of other things together, and it's just been such a great partnership. Yeah. I love having the Wednesday night pantry. That's like icing on the cake now. It's kind of a cool thing. So
I'll tell you, I mean, I remember when you were doing the Cupboard Ally stuff, and then you guys have been involved with food for a long time.
Yeah.
Through, what was it? Every month you do something with food.
So
right?
Every month we had, prior to coming into contact with Common Heart, we had a group of people that we served with the shelter of Union County, community shelter of Union County, and we would take food like groceries to them every month, mainly in the Waxhaw area, and that's morphed into cooking a meal for them now. But we do have a group of people, that about 65 people that we serve every month.
Yeah.
Through that. So,
well, I remember one Great Turkey Countdown, you wanted to provide some.
Yes.
And we partnered together, and I think we packed like 60 boxes just for you guys to take off. So you guys came with your van, like 4 or 5 or 6 vehicles, and took it to St. Margaret's, split it amongst your folks, and then went out and served the folks of your folks. And so that was a pretty cool partnership in and of itself. How we were able to put together your relationships you already have with food that we could provide.
Right.
And that's one of the ideas of how we would like to work. That's really pretty cool. Yeah, I love how years ago I think St. Margaret's has been has had more training in Bridges Out of Poverty than I don't think any other organization in our community.
Yes.
I remember you bringing, it had to be like in 2018 or 2019, bringing 4 or 5 people to a
Yeah.
workshop right here in
Yeah.
what was this big room that we had. We don't have anymore.
Right.
And I know it's made a difference, and we followed up in different other workshops too. So yeah, it's been a great partnership, and I love working with St. Margaret's. I love it so much. Actually, I'm now a member of St. Margaret's.
Whatever.
and so I'm glad that you're here, and I mean I'm so glad that you guys connected with us.
Me too. Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Well, we are also super excited to be joined by Michael Jordan, Vice President of Operations for Atrium Health Union and Union West. Atrium is another patron of the heart, regular sponsor of events, deeply involved in community collaborations like Drive Union, which Common Heart helped launch. Their employees volunteer, run food drives, and Michael serves on our board of directors. Both Atrium and St. Margaret's have just been amazing, kind of exemplary partners as far as I'm concerned. And they've been incredibly involved in our hunger walk as well. St. Margaret's is currently the reigning champion and holder of the Hunger Walk Cup. They set a very high bar, so the rest of us got to step it up. But Michael, we're so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate just being able to be here and be part of this. At Atrium Health Union and Union West, we really believe that healthcare is not just within the walls of our hospital, because that's just one of the parts of what we do. If you look at all the different partnerships that we have in the community, Common Heart is just one of those. And I think that's kind of where we kind of got the start of it. We were talking earlier, and you said, kind of interviewed Common Heart from the Atrium perspective many years ago, and that was even prior to me. But through the partnership and understanding all the nonprofits that different of our executives, different of our directors and folks sit on boards, we're constantly on the lookout of who can we partner with in the community to elevate, to make it better. Because our part of our mission is the for all piece. And that for all doesn't just happen within our walls. It happens exterior. It happens in our community, where the folks that we take care of whenever they need us, we're taking care of them in the community as well. So that's been a huge piece of who we are and kind of our DNA from the Atrium Health Union and Union West perspective. So whenever I got the opportunity to connect with Keith and understand what this organization does and the amazing work, it was a no-brainer to say, yes, I'm on board. Let me do it. Let's jump in here and let's get this going. It's been great to be able to be part of this organization and really see it growing into what it is today. And I'm just excited to see what it's going to be. But we got, some amazing stories, with even just our own teammates, because of the connections that we got here. We've had teammates that have been receiving of the food and the services, and in times of needs when I didn't even know there was a need. Common Heart had already stepped in and met that need for some of these teammates. And I say, hey, I'm on this board, and what about Common Heart? They're like, thank you, but I've already been. I went to the Wednesday night food pantry. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So the word is out there, and that's great that the word's out there, that folks in need know that Common Heart is there to stand by their side, but it's partners like us that want to be right there and supporting Common Heart as well throughout this, and make sure that we are doing it. And the teammates on the other flip side of it have already started having their own food drives within our buildings.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, let me connect Elizabeth. They got food for you. They got food. We want to bring it by. We want to connect you. And some of our partners, the Morrison's company that does a lot of our food and nutrition, those teammates are all on board. They're like, hey, how can we get some more food to be able to donate to Common Heart? So it's a passion. It really is a passion, because I say food is health. Really, food is a form of medicine if you get down to it, because we can't survive without quality food. And I want to tout what you all do here at Common Heart by doing the diet specific food. That is so essential within a community, because if someone is diabetic, high blood pressure, some of those things that we're trying to help them manage as a healthcare entity, but then they go home and they eat high sodium or high sugar
Mhm.
content or these things,
Yeah.
they're going to be right back in that
Mhm.
bad health situation that they came to us in the first place to try to help them. So to have that diet specific is a game changer.
Yeah.
So Common Heart really not only steps it up to provide them food, but food that they need to be
Yeah.
able to eat. It's amazing. So thank you
Absolutely.
for that work.
Yeah, I think, food drives have been one of the huge ways that we've been able to get some of those dietary items. I think it was Kevin, our food raising leader, it was maybe his first week here, and y'all had done a massive food drive at Union West. And I may have imagined this, but I think it may have been like a competition among the floors or
Yeah.
departments or something.
We're not competitive at
Um,
all.
I just may have imagined that, but
We are.
but it's just so cool to see folks who are serving the community daily, continuing to outpour into the community through food, and that dietary program is something we're continuing to try and build and grow, and it's just really awesome that we can have the resources of Atrium to help inform that and help us learn and what is most needed by the folks in our community, because we certainly are not health professionals. But that's why these partnerships are so important.
Absolutely.
Because we have Atrium at our fingertips to answer questions and give us resources to share with our neighbors. Tracy, you've been involved. You've seen so many different sides of Common Heart's work, probably all the sides. You've hosted workshops, your church has done food drives, you've partnered on pantry nights. Tell us just one or two moments that has really stood out to you.
This is hard. This was hard to narrow down. I think early on, my husband Brian and I, we were talking about this last night. Early on, it was definitely that drive-through pantry on 74.
Oh, during COVID. Oh my goodness. It was like March or April 2020.
It was early in COVID, and y'all just were figuring out ways to get the food out there during COVID and all the weird rules and everything that was going on. And that one just exploded. And I think that may have been the first one I ever worked. And we brought some people from St. Margaret's, I believe, that day. And the line was down 74, and the police were not happy with us. I don't think
That's true.
But
neither was the landlord of the
or
facility.
the
Oh my
landlord.
goodness.
That's right. So sorry, but it was good intentions. But that was kind of the impact of just seeing all those people that really had the need, and it was right there in our community, and it was really overwhelming. And then since then, of course, I love our people that we deliver to every month, and Wingate, and so many little stories with them, and bringing in a neighbor here and there, or so and so struggling, let's help them out. So that it's exactly what you envisioned for this organization. When your wife started delivering food a long time ago. But I think recently is at our Wednesday night pantry at St. Margaret's. I was told that y'all wanted to start it there because the next closest one to us, I think in Wesley Chapel, had gotten pretty overwhelmed, and they had just long lines and long waits. And they had noticed a lot of refugees, Ukrainian refugees mainly, that were being served there. And so a lot of that kind of got shifted to St. Margaret's, which was such a blessing. We have learned so, and I've talked to every week I see the same people now that are just so grateful for it. And I've learned, I haven't learned how to speak Ukrainian. I've had a really hard time with that. I've learned how to use Google Translate a lot. And I've had some conversations with people and just gotten to know them and their story and what it's like coming to America, and how, how they're trying to fit in and navigate our system, and just all the challenges that that has brought. And so I'm just really, it's all about the relationships, right? I just love getting to know the people and hearing their stories. So.
Yeah, one of the things I've appreciated about St. Margaret's, and specifically that pantry, was I don't know how many times I told you no when you wanted to do a pantry. I don't know, you were persistent. You guys wanted
a great parking lot for it.
You guys wanted to do a mobile pantry, all kinds of stuff. And I said, no, it's the wrong place. No, it's not a good space. No, because it's too close to where all the rich people live. The kind of things. But I remember, and so when this came up and realized that the folks that were coming to Wesley Chapel a lot of them are coming from Ballantyne area and other areas on the western side of the county. We realized we had to have that other pantry. And then I came and said, "Oh, yep, now's the time. This is a great location. This is a perfect location. Why don't you guys do this?" And it was very quick. You guys stepped up and did what had to be done in order to make it happen. And one of the reasons why I am in this work is that, and no longer in church work like I was in the beginning years ago, is because I hated how long it took to get anything done. But I think it was the heart and the mission and the drive and probably a lot of setup in the past from you. I mean, it got done within 3 or 4 weeks when we had that thing open, and I was really thought out about that. Other thing I was amazed at was when I went to there, I noticed that I thought, there's nobody in Marvin that needs food. I knew that wasn't exactly true, but I knew there wasn't that many. But I was really surprised that there's quite a few neighbors that are in that Waxhaw Marvin area that come out to the pantry, and there's some hidden pockets of food insecurity and poverty in that
There
area.
really are, and they're kind of smushed in between all the beautiful neighborhoods. And those are a lot of. I was standing in a woman's house yesterday that comes to our pantry a lot, and that we take food to every month, and needs a new roof, cinder block house. Like it's right, and it's within 15 minutes of our church. So and there's a cluster right down Crane Road, about a mile from our church, that they've all lived there for 70, 80 years, same family home, and they're so grateful. One of the guys tries to ride his bike up Crane Road to come get us food. It's just and you start seeing what's right around you. It opens your eyes a lot.
It opens your eyes and relationship building that takes place there.
Yes,
Very
exactly.
cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Well, Michael, Atrium Health has supported us in so many ways. You guys, what's one experience that maybe a volunteering sponsor event or something that reminds you of why this work matters?
I want to double down on something you just said, though. There's a lot of folks who don't realize. So I am a native Union Countyan. Is that a word?
It is now.
So I've been here, my entire life. So the developments and things that you see now, I remember them as fields.
Yeah.
So you talk about going to Waxhaw, it felt like what going to Charlotte is now. But you go there and there's fields, and it's the small town feel, and that's just not, that's not the norm anymore in a lot of our communities. But the folks that are native to those locations are still there. So you may have your $1 million houses, but to your point, you got many others that have been there for a while, and there's still that food insecurity and poverty that we see, and that really drives a lot of the I think the decisions that have to be made and the focus work that needs to go on. But what really impacted me was 2 years ago I was able to attend the Hunger Walk, and I was able to attend the one in Marshville, the one that we were able to do that year, and then we did not this past year. Which was a great event. Seen a lot of folks that I know in the community, a lot of folks that I grew up with, a lot of folks that, friends and family kind of thing. But then this past year came to the main event, the big time, the one in Indian Trail here. And wow, it was like a family reunion.
Yeah.
I mean, like so many great people there, so many people just from the community, but the environment, the atmosphere was just so electric. And to have all the folks from representing so many different organizations there, but also just people like, hey, this is just my family, and we're going to be here because we believe in the work that Common Heart does. I mean, it almost gives me goosebumps now to even just think about that morning, and as everybody was, putting up tents and trying to make sure that we put them up right so they didn't fall on Elizabeth's head, and then setting up the little bandanas for the dogs on the fence, and see the families come out and just know what they were there for was to support our community. It truly is individuals that are supporting other individuals.
Right.
That piece really impacted me, to see so many people come out and know that the majority of the work's done because the money's already been pledged at that point. But they're there to, in a physical way, show the community we are here for those that have food insecurity, those that are in poverty, and really do it in a way such in a public park, and to make those laps around, to really for folks to say, what are they doing? What is this organization? I mean, that has a tendency again to your story,
Yeah.
what are they about? Oh, let me volunteer. Oh, now let me get my company involved.
Yeah.
And I think that's the progression that we're seeing even within Atrium
Mhm.
Health is we started at Union and a couple of folks needed the support. Other folks are giving support, but we're seeing it now. We include Union West, and then we just
Mhm.
continue to grow that kind of impact that can happen when you get folks that live in the community. They want to help serve their fellow man. They want to make sure that everybody has what they need from a food insecurity standpoint to make sure that we don't have folks going hungry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have a great partnership with Union County Public Schools, and we see that when some of those schools are closed, some of
Yeah.
those students don't eat.
Yeah.
Mm.
And to be able to then say, "Hey, parent,
Mhm.
have you ever heard of Common Heart?"
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, the interconnectedness of all these nonprofits is what makes Union County. That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
You wanna know why I love
sure.
Union County? You know
Yeah.
why I haven't moved to Mecklenburg or Cabarrus or who knows where? I mean, you get interviews and not interviews, but people headhunting say, "Hey, come to Colorado for this role." No, Union County is home. Union County is the place that I want for my family, and it's because of things like this that we continue to choose Union County because we
Absolutely.
take care of each other.
Mm.
It's part of who
We
we are.
absolutely do. And I think events like Hunger Walk, Late Great Turkey Countdown are so special because our volunteer community is so spread out.
Yeah.
You know, like I
Yeah.
feel like I only know the volunteers that are here in the warehouse, but there's volunteers that come
Yeah.
every week,
Yeah.
you know, to
Yeah.
evening pantries or at the morning pantries. And so events like that where our whole community comes together, it's so special because
party.
it is. And it really is like a family reunion because we're all people that all have this shared
Mhm.
goal and vision and
Absolutely.
mission, and like to have us all be together and just the impact that a group of 450 people in a public park can make, or however many of us we have out here for Great Turkey Countdown.
Right.
Again, the police getting mad at us because we're
Right.
blocking the road. You know, it shows the power of our community that we're all here for each other.
It sounded like at least 900 people. I don't believe it.
I know,
It
450.
was loud.
We're loud.
It was
We're
loud,
loud.
which is great.
Yeah.
Be proud of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man. Well,
It's been really cool how we've how over the years we've had more and more and more businesses and churches and organizations, community organizations, volunteer organizations. And we really are seeing that. You know, we like to think about the fact that we have like some 7,000 volunteers, which is true.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we have a number of how many organizations send volunteers who literally send in group events and are literally involved. We know some. I think we have the tip of the iceberg, but it's a lot of folks.
it's so many, and I think, you know, I'm going to credit my team who,
And it belongs there.
it does.
Yeah.
You know, really making an effort to connect with, you know, Union County is such a hub of industry and manufacturing that a lot of people don't know about because they only go as far as Indian Trail or Weddington. They don't make their way down any farther. And, you know, there are so many businesses and corporations that are looking for ways to give back and, you know, ways to get plugged into their community. And so it's a great way, you know, I'm really grateful for our team that's reaching out to these places, providing opportunities, accommodating different kinds of groups, making it work. We just talked, you know, I just learned Piedmont Natural Gas has an operations location here in Indian Trail. I had no clue. And they were talking about wanting to bring a group out and volunteer. And it's like, you don't know that unless you talk to someone and make a connection. You know, so yeah, I have no clue. You know, the spreadsheet would be like a mile long of people that we don't even know that are engaging with us.
Yeah, and these kind of events you're talking about, they bring it together so we can actually see the village that's doing it.
That's right.
You know? And that's a really cool thing.
So Tracy, why does St. Margaret's feel that this kind of partnership is important, especially right now?
I think it all, from our perspective, it comes down to just, you know, being the hands and feet of Jesus in our community. I mean, that's what we're called to do. It's kind of a basic thing to us and our faith. But yeah, I really think feeding the hungry and clothing the poor and all that is a real call, and I feel compelled to do that. That's why I love outreach so much. I love getting to know my community better, my neighbors, and finding out what they do need and how we can help. And if we can't help them as our church, then we have community partners like y'all that do a lot more and have all the other resources, especially through Thrive and through all the connections y'all have built. That it's been so helpful. I can't tell you how many times I've called here and asked somebody, you know, I have a neighbor that needs X, and y'all figure out how to help me get there. So it's just a lovely resource to have in our church. I think it's just what we're called to do from our church.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm really impressed, and I want to know why you guys think this was important. And you weren't necessarily the one, you were involved with this, but you weren't necessarily the one who made the decision, because I think the decisions were made by the priests of the church.
Oh, absolutely.
But you had me there, and I spent 3 hours training your folks in Sunday school on poverty and its impact in the community and how we can build relationships. And then follow that up the next year with how to move beyond rescuing and judgment when we're interacting with folks. You know, why? I mean, knowing your folks, knowing the leadership there, why was that important to them to have that as part of their formation of their adults?
Yeah, I think that was. I think there's so many misconceptions about people that do live in poverty and the different ways to get out of it. And I think our leadership was trying to just shed some light on that as to how to get over those barriers of helping people. Because again, that's what we are called to do, and to be out in our community and engaging with our neighbors and love. I mean, our little tagline is love. I'm going to flub it because I'm on camera. Love your neighbor, love Jesus, love your neighbor, bless the world. And that's what we try to live by that. And I think educating some of our folks on the challenge. I mean, there's so many more challenges in Union County. It's not just the bootstraps thing. It's there's a lot more going on than simply working harder. That's kind of the standard mentality. So I think that helped really shed some light on it and make it more personal and just understand how to navigate it. And I think that was a great resource to have you. I mean, you were sitting right there, so we figured we'd use your knowledge and your expertise. And I think it turned out, and I mean, we had a great turnout, and we've had so many people talking about it over the years. So it's very compelling.
Awesome.
Michael, from a healthcare perspective and community leadership that Atrium and you have in our community, why is it critical for businesses to be involved and to be involved in this kind of grassroots movement that is Common Heart?
Yeah, I think hit a little upon that, but I'll double down on some of the things. But I think Tracy said expertise. We have expertise in healthcare. We want to provide the best healthcare. I don't have the best expertise in how to get food, how to distribute food. I mean, the expertise that you all have in what you're doing and the professionalism and the way that you care for folks is just astounding. And we can't do that. I mean, Atrium, that's not what we do. So to have amazing partnerships, and I don't know many businesses that can say they're experts in the work that you all do. So they've got to be involved in this if they want to take care of the community, number one. But number two, they're taking care of the folks that's either working for them or their clients / customers / whatever, because that's part of being in a community. But I've been at Atrium for 25 years now, and it's been, since day one, it's always been about how are we taking care of our community. And that's one thing that really has kept me where I am in this organization, because of that outward focus. And really it's about, there's things that we can't do. For example, social determinants of health has been a big conversation of us. How do we help folks that don't have proper housing? How do we help folks that have food insecurities? How do we do these things when it's not our expertise area? You go find those that are the experts, and they're sitting at the table. You find the ones that really have the infrastructure in place to be able to do that, and you get behind them 100%. I mean, for organizations that may look like a donation, It may look like a monthly donation. It may look like supporting at the patron level. It may look like supporting the Hunger Walk or the Great Turkey Countdown or those types of events. But it also may look like getting your team to volunteer at a pantry here to sort food. There's so many different avenues that no matter if you are a community business that only has 10 employees, or if you're one that has 1,400 employees like Atrium Health Union, then you have ways to really support the community. That is the reason that you have a business. That is the reason you have a reason to exist as an organization. So I encourage every partnership, every business, every organization that I come across to be part of this, to be part of the small revolution of kindness, and get your team to be part of this, because it really makes a huge impact.
Yeah, one of the things I remember, it was fun. I was leading a poverty simulation, and you were. and you had a bunch of people there from Atrium Health to go through this poverty simulation. And I remember I was in that particular simulation. I was the criminal element, the drug dealer and stuff like that. And I was going after one of your kids in your group, But Common Heart puts on these poverty simulations with different partners. That one was with our Thrive Union partnership. But why was it important to have so many people there?
Wow,
you guys had a lot of folks there.
I'll tell you, that was the most stressed I've been ever. I mean, just to be given a small amount of money and tokens to represent, the ability to travel from one location to another, and then understand how long you had to stand in line, even at the bank, which took up time that you should be earning money over here. But these are real life circumstances. So that when I brought a group, and we had probably 10 or 12 of our leaders come with us, because they need to understand what it's like to live in poverty. And I needed to understand that. This is the first one that I got the chance to attend. And the stories, when we went back to the hospital, the stories that they told, well, I was a child in this scenario. This was my experience, or I was the single mother in that experience. And I was like, wow, how did I do? We survived for about 2 weeks before we were broke. But none of my kids went to jail. None of them got taken by DSS. I fought him. You're not getting them. Not me. So it's important for folks to even have that understanding, because depending on where you grew up, the circumstances you grow up in, it's hard to even conceptualize that. Unless you truly know. And then if you know what it's like, I mean, your hand and ultimately your wallet follows with that. I mean, because you don't want others to experience that, even in that hour and a half that we were together, which ended in an amazing meal, by the way, which most of the people that were, if you were truly in that simulation, you wouldn't get to enjoy that meal. You would still be struggling. We got to go back to our offices, our cars, and all these things. The folks that are living that reality on the day to day don't get to turn around and walk away from it. That's their lives.
I think one of the things that I love about community partners, and especially our church partners, is the exposure that our kids and young people get to Common Heart. As I come from a youth ministry background and love any opportunity to engage kids and teenagers in this work. One, because there are very few places that little kids can volunteer. But also, I'm one of those people. I grew up here, and I grew up in a super middle class family. I had no concept or understanding of the level of need that was in my school, that was probably in my neighborhood. I just didn't know. And I think the ways that we may not be doing a poverty simulation for middle schoolers, but we can have a conversation about what does poverty look like, what does food insecurity look like, and then inspire in them a love of service.
Mhm.
And, I know St. Margaret's have VBS and y'all doing a food drive, and kudos to the St. Margaret's kids or teens who decorated your barrels,
Right.
your food drive barrels. They are so cute.
Aw.
And,
Go above and
above and beyond, and just like taking ownership of something as simple as a food drive, or, wanting to pack kids' bags, or
Yes.
come out and help at the pantry. Like, I think these partnerships allow kind of a gateway
Yes.
to expose young people to a life of service and a life of loving their community, where it's not just I'm checking a box to get my X number of service hours, but I want to show up and do this. And, so I think church partnerships, but also when we talk about these businesses that are coming, a lot of times somebody will come and they'll be like, oh, my kids can come.
Yes.
And then we have a new family of volunteers because they realize that's an opportunity. So it just really opens so many doors and pathways for different kinds of people, all ages, all stages of life, to get involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our VBS, kudos to Jamie Peters who organized all that. But that not everybody that comes to our VBS are church members. They like live around us. And so now that whole crop of people has been exposed to Common Heart and just the work you do, because we explain why we're collecting food for you, obviously. And then our youth that volunteer, we have a couple of youth that come. They don't need service hours, but they're high schoolers, and they volunteer at our pantry every single week because they just want to, they just text me and say, I'm going to show. I'm like, great, come on, because they're really great with the iPads, with the tablets. They can register people a lot faster than this 50-year-old can. So it's, you're right. So many great ways that our kids have plugged in.
When we think about Common Heart's mission and vision, and our vision is to start this small revolution of kindness, create a small revolution of kindness that will eradicate food insecurity and eliminate generational poverty, and that's a huge thing. That and I am so glad that that's just not like us 14 staff members.
Right.
That's what we do. We don't. It's not us that we do that.
Right.
We happen to be among those gathering together folks, and it really takes the whole village to even begin to see a small revolution of kindness created, poverty and food insecurity addressed in our community. And people don't tend to think that there's a problem in Union County because of the fact of how rich our community is, And I've been recently kind of moved more by the Chetty study. I don't know if you know about the Chetty study or what it's called, but years ago, back in 2013, it came out that Charlotte area was 50 out of 50 in upward mobility. That our poorest folks have the worst opportunity at rising out of poverty, and there's been a lot of work done over the past few years, and this tells us there's so much more work to do, because Charlotte went up to 35 out of 50 and showed the third highest growth of any community in the United States, third highest. And every single county in our community contributed to that growth except for one. Union County showed no growth in upward mobility. Every other county in our community did. And to me, I think part of that is that we have to really come together and work on this. The way we as a business, faith, organizations, government, and our community address things have to be together. We can't be siloed in one or two different areas or 15 different organizations. We've got to come together as a community, and it really takes a village to provide hope in these uncertain times. And that hope and uncertainty is what we call this podcast, because we need to provide hope. And I am so thankful that you guys, your groups, your organizations, and so many others are part of this small revolution of kindness, bringing this hope in this time of uncertainty during the summer, but not just the summer, all year round. We're so thankful. If you're listening today and wondering how you might be able to help, remember, it really does take a village. Your business, your church, your civic group can all be a part of this work.
That's right. You can host a food drive, you can sponsor a pantry, you can volunteer as a group, or just reach out and ask, what can we do? I think that's honestly one of my favorite ways to partner with people, because we get to be creative on where are your passions, What is it that you care about, and how can we fit that with the work that we're doing? There's so many different moving pieces that go into Common Heart, and I typically get to see it kind of from an up down level and see all the different ways that it's happening, but there's just so many ways, and we want it to be a conversation and be a partnership, and just let's talk together about what we can do. I think Tracy did, your persistence made it happen for Common Heart to now have a pantry at St. Margaret's, and I think we want to see that happen with all of our partnerships, and they're all so unique. And
yeah, I'll agree with Keith though. I've been privileged to work with a lot of the biggest companies in Union County because we provide healthcare in Union County. But many of them partner with Common Heart and many of the other nonprofits. But it's not just about the big companies. It's about every company.
Yeah.
It's about every organization putting their yes on the table and saying, we're going to continue to do something to make Union County better. And I think that's what we should have as a call to action. If you're not involved now with Common Heart, get involved. Hey, if you need to know what it looks like from a partner's perspective, give me a call. Keith can give you an email address or a phone number, and give me a call, and I can help you understand how to get in and really make a difference in Union County. Because if you're doing business in Union County, we should be helping the folks in Union County, the ones that really.
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's like there's no one way to be a business partner.
That's right.
No one way to be a church partner. There's there's all different kinds of ways, and one of the best things to do is just reach out to us and say, what can we do? How can we get involved? And we'll find a way to get you plugged in. So you guys, thank you so much. Tracy and Michael, y'all are wonderful friends and people, and just so grateful to have you here and share your stories and your connection. Truly, our partnerships are everything. And so we're so grateful for your witness and encouragement to others to get involved. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
So next week, we're going to explore some other things. We're going to explore another side of this whole partnership thing. That's generosity. And we're going to be talking with our donors here at Common Heart. We know that Common Heart, we are just a vehicle because it is our donors, our volunteers. You guys are, and our supporters, our business partners, although you guys are really the heroes of the Small Ocean of Kindness. And we're going to hear from some of our heroes, our donors. And we'll talk about why they give and what moves them and how they see their gifts making real hope and making come alive.
That's right. So subscribe now, share this episode, and if your organization wants to get involved, please visit commonheart.org and reach out to us. Thanks so much for listening.
And thanks for being there for hope in these uncertain times.
See you next time.